India is an agriculturally important country. Two-thirds of its population is engaged in agricultural activities. Agriculture is a primary activity which produces most of the food that we consume. Besides food grains, it also produces raw material for various industries. Now, the population quoted over here, two-thirds of its population is engaged in variety of agricultural activities. Okay, remember this. Over here, agricultural activities means the care and production of livestock products, poultry, horticulture, floriculture, planting, cultivation, and harvesting of crops or trees, or any other activity that can demonstrate a tie to agriculture. Alright, so remember this. What are the key points, keywords we are going to remember? For every slide, you have to remember certain keywords. So, for this slide, agricultural country, two-thirds of the population engaged in agriculture. It's a primary activity which produces food, that is food grains, but it also produces raw materials for various industries. It's the largest supplier of raw material to various industries. Agriculture is an age-old economic activity in our country. Over these years, cultivation methods have changed significantly depending upon the characteristics of physical environment, technological know-how, and socio-cultural practices. Let's put some light on these three characteristics: physical environment, technological know-how, and socio-cultural practices. Let's take the example of Garhwal Himalayas, which is located in the center of the Himalayan mountain system, correct? So characteristics of this region is harsh climatic condition, rough and rugged terrain, and fragile landscape. And definitely an economic backwardness. About 95% of the total population resides in the rural areas. Farming system in Garhwal Himalayan region is based upon the century-old practices and carried out mainly on the narrow patches of the terrace fields. The main crops which are grown are paddy, wheat, barley, millet, pulses, and oilseeds. These crops are insufficient to meet the food requirement of the people of this region. But these crops are environmentally sound and suitable for this ecologically fragile terrain. So, how can modernization in agriculture help over here? It's absolutely not possible. So, what are the ways that a government is putting up or coming forward in order to bring in more development in this region and economic stability in this region? Enhancing and diversifying livelihood options other than the biomass based production will definitely raise the income and food security of the rural mountain people, as the agroclimatic conditions in this region are very much feasible for the cultivation of cash generating crops. Therefore, the scope of cultivation of off-scene vegetables, fruits, medicinal plants, and collection of non-timber based forest products are tremendous. Cultivation of fruits will also manifest a way for ecological restoration of the fragile terrain and will enhance the economic level and sustainable livelihood of the inhabitants. So, over here, you come to know that by adapting to the physical environment, taking care of the physical environment, but bringing in a little bit of change in the socio-cultural practices and bringing in little bit of technology, then definitely we can economically develop this region. That is how cultivation methods have changed significantly over the years, by bringing in a little bit of change in the agricultural pattern in few of the regions. Farming practice is not isolated from the rest of the society's culture, and it cannot be treated as purely technical subject. It influences and is influenced by various aspects, and one of them is food preferences. Before government official can offer any help to farmers, he has to understand this present farming system. what crops are grown and in what sequence or combination it is grown, how important is each crop in the local diet, how is land prepared for planting, when are the main farm operations carried out, why do people farm in the way they do. Farming systems are complex and a change in one aspect may create a problem to the other. For example, in Nepal, millet is sometimes planted between maize plants. Thus, any change in the maize spacing or subsequent weeding practice will affect the millet production. Similarly, in Nigeria, up to 12 crops are grown together on one single plot. So, all these practices which have been followed in a rural village, so authorities immediately cannot change or cannot give advice to these farmers. The leaders or the headmen of this particular village may not accept the preferences or the help which is given by the government official, because the headman may not be ready to change the traditional way of farming. He may not be ready for the technical assistance which is given by the government. So this simple recommendations therefore has implications on various aspects of culture, and which is very difficult for an individual farmer to change the farming practice. So when we say that socio-cultural practices, this particular characteristics is also important while taking into consideration agriculture. Farming varies from subsistence to commercial type of farming. Farming varies from subsistence to commercial type. At present, in different parts of India, various farming systems are practiced. Primitive subsistence farming is practiced in few pockets of India. This type of farming is practiced on a small patch of land with the help of primitive tools like hoe, dhow, and digging sticks. And it is a family that is community labor. That is, the whole of the family comes together in order to do such type of farming. This type of farming depends upon monsoon, natural fertility of the soil, and suitability of other environmental conditions to the crops grown. So, let's revise these points again. Let's quickly revise key important points for subsistence farming. Characterized by small and scattered land holding, primitive tools, then complete family, that is the whole of the family works on the farm, then farms are small, traditional method of farming is followed, they do not use fertilizers and high yielding variety of seeds, then yield is not very high and most of the yield is consumed by the family with a very little surplus, if any, is marketed locally, and facilities like electricity and irrigation are generally not available to them.